Sorry, so I'm out here enjoying the sun, trying to avoid as much Mercury Retrograde vibes as possible because it is real this year, or I guess this go around. I'm not that great with astrology. I know some basic understandings of astrology, not gonna lie, but I can tell when things are not vibing great. Anyway, so the topic of this video today is obviously it's about wokeism. It's about the toxicity of wokeism and the dangers of wokeism and the new age, new earth vibe, all of this sort of thing. Uh, it's more so the fake woke. Let's be real. Let's be honest. It's about fake wokeism, right? Because being woke, being awake to your surroundings, being aware of your surroundings, your own inner understanding of things, your inner influence and your outer influence, learning how those coincide. There's really beautiful things about it, of course, but also there's also a very real fake woke vibe, or I guess trend. And anything that's trendy obviously has a toxic characteristic that goes along with it. It's just something that's natural. We see something that we like and we're impressed by it, and we're attracted to this sort of thing, so we just try to pick up certain trends and certain styles or what have you, and pick them up without actually truly understanding the better influence, or the stronger psyche behind some of this stuff. So it's really important to talk about these topics. My thing, especially with fake wokeism, this is my biggest pet peeve and my biggest red flag, honestly, and I think it should be anybody's big red flag, is anybody that claims to be more spiritual than you are, more woke than you are. I mean, sure, they may have, let's be real, they may have a better understanding of some things, some influence or whatever, but anybody that, sits there and claims to have, a better understanding, a better, perspective than you do, is fucking full of themselves. Pardon my French, but they have something big up their ass. And it comes from a really toxic place. I mean, don't get me wrong, they may believe that they have, some people may believe that they actually have, pure intent behind what they're saying, but don't really have it, and they're not really understanding where that's coming from internally, and that there could be some real possible ego influence involved with that. And it's not something that they will be able to see right away, or maybe even at all half the time, let's be real. But it's something that you have to be aware of yourself. You have to understand your own intent, your own influence, and your own vibrations, and just trusting your own intuition more than anything, I think has probably been my, I guess biggest lesson learned was trusting my own intuition. I think me as a Virgo, I'm a Virgo, Gemini rising, and I can't remember the rest. I'm not that great with astrology. Anyway, but I overthink things, right? I tend to overthink things 24/7. I always try to find, a better understanding of things, and that tends to have some emotional conflict, right, with my own belief systems and my own intuition on things. So I get misguided. I do tend to believe that I have a better understanding of certain things than some people, not everybody, because I am learning. I literally just woke up, last year, I think, maybe a little bit in 2019. No, I think I did. I woke up in 2019 was when I had my DMT experience without having DMT. Maybe it was 2020. I don't know. Anyway, it was recent, so I'm still learning. I have lots of growth to do. I ain't gonna deny that. However, when we're sitting here trying to learn from our experience, it's really important to understand our divine path is embedded with our every fucking day life. Everything that you do, even though you don't see any spiritual influence, it has a lot of spiritual influence and spiritual growth and inner growth that you don't understand. like the core elements. Like, we go through karmic lessons and karmic relationships for a reason. And I know it's not something that we want to accept, that you have to go through hardships to learn and grow as a person, but you do. It's a very big part of the yin and yang system, is to understand your shadow influence and your light influence. To sit there and tell anybody that you're all love and light 24/7, I love you, but you're lying to yourself. You have a shadow. Everyone has a shadow. You can tame it as much as you want, but unless you understand and respect your own shadow and learn how to turn that into like artwork, transmute your energy. I say transmute, it's a fancy word of like, putting your energy into a different project. So my thing is art therapy. I do shadow work with art therapy. Anytime I have a bad, idea, I have, suicidal thoughts, anything like that, because they do occur often, I write it down in a journal. I draw. I create things. Some people make music is a very big, shadow. But we're not talking about shadow work. We're talking about the wokeism and the fake thing. Sorry, I'm getting off topic. But my point is to sit there and say that you're all, love and light 24/7, and that you're better, or you have a better understanding, and that it's coming from ill intent. Whether you reflect on it, whether you understand it or not, it comes from ill intent. Whenever there's some sort of sarcasm or sarcastic tone where you're making fun of somebody, you're judging, this is your biggest red flag right here, is when you're judging somebody else's life and you're not actually with humility coming in with, from the heart, that you actually care about somebody and you want to give them some real advice and be private about it, then it's coming from ill intent, and you should really reflect on, where you're coming from. You may be a really great person, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you're a shitty person with your fake wokeism. You may have just, some more growing up to do, some more, lessons to be learned, some more karmic stuff to be learned, and maybe your energy is just not right that day. I have arguments with people. I sit here online sometimes when I and argue. I find myself doing this 24/7. I'm not gonna lie to you. I argue with people online about their perspectives, especially with COVID. I think that's probably my biggest pet peeve is COVID. I think that's one of my biggest triggers. And this is another thing too, is understanding your triggers and working with them and learning how to deal with that. And because I personally am working with my COVID triggers as well. I just personally don't like, us talking about again, okay, not the topic. Anyway, I'm working on my triggers, and I'm working on, resolving these, perspectives and we're not necessarily influencing, but communicating my perspectives from a healthier, inner guidance. I'm trying to learn how to communicate my efforts better, from, a pure space in my heart, not some, toxic, you're spreading some misinformation, you're spreading bullshit, fuck politics type of vibe. I'm trying to get rid of that vibe, because I have that vibe. It's a very heavy influence in my, inner emotional understanding of things. But, I work with it, and I'm trying to understand it, I'm trying to work with my communication skills for sure. Okay? I admitted something to you guys, so you can admit some things to yourself. You don't have to admit them to me, just admit them to yourself. Anyway, so my point is you should really be wary of anybody that tells you that they have a better perspective than you, or just, you can usually pick up on this vibe from somebody else. You can really usually kind of, get this kind of bad vibration, bad feeling from somebody. And we call it vibe for a reason, because you actually really fucking feel this stuff when it's happening. And this is why a lot of my videos go with trusting your own inner guidance, trusting your own intuition above anybody else's, because I think this is, again, with my Virgo attitude, I'm natural born skeptic. I think about and try to analyze things and break them down so I can understand them better. However, like, it really affects my own intuition, and sometimes I have like this internal conflict where I'm not really sure where somebody else's intent is coming from and what their influence on my life is. And so I can end up getting a lot of internal conflict where I'm doubting myself, I'm doubting my own intuition, and maybe sometimes I project feelings onto other people. I've recently found myself doing this with a relationship I was trying to develop. I'm not quite sure about my shadow projection. It may have been a lot of my own shadow projection, but misguided intuition like really fucked with me with that whole situation. So I had to step out because I was having internal conflict with trusting my intuition. So that's just something I had to kind of step away from. So, like, I was doubting my own intuition, so there was a lot of internal conflict. So I had to step away from that and just step back and do some, like, reflective meditations and just try to take a few weeks to myself so I could understand, especially with this Mercury Retrograde. I'm taking a break from some relationships and trying to figure things out, with other people. I'm just going to take this time to be by myself and do some reflection. Anyway, again, back to the topic, fake wokeism and the dangers with this. So it's really a lot of the spiritual growth is about trusting your own inner guidance and trusting that the universe has things laid out for you. And this is a really big step, a big leap of faith, if you will. And also my next art topic, or my next art project, is actually called Faith. So this is something really that I'm personally learning right now is my own faith with my own intuition and my own inner guidance, and trusting that the universe has has a plan laid out for me. Ooh, sorry, hiccup. Has a plan laid out for me, right? So I have to really learn how to trust that. And with my Virgo influence, I tend to analyze and overthink things, and so I have conflict with trusting my own path. So a lot of these lessons are going to come in to teach you this about yourself and trusting yourself more than others, because, like, we can't expect other people to have, our best interest at heart. I know it would be really amazing if we could. It really would. But we just can't do that. No, and even like somebody like me, I love people, I really do, and I try to get to understand people from like a deeper level, no matter what their background is. I know that sounds a little asinine, but it's true. Like, I really do. Like, I go out and I talk to street people sometimes with the job that I do, and just try to understand why they live the way they do. And I try to understand people who have money. I try to understand, why, what their influences are, what their virtues and their values are. Because when you can understand, people's like real intent, this is the biggest, like, I think key point that I have in this video is intent. You have to realize that some people, no matter what they believe about themselves, may not have the best intent. And that comes from, things, influences, forces we can't necessarily completely control. Period. It's just our nature. We have survival instincts, right? Who are you going to feed first? Like some stranger, or are you going to feed your family first? Okay? Just put that into your perspective. Think about it, and think about that later on too. Reflect on it. So you understand where I'm coming from, though. Like, not everyone's going to have your best interest at heart. So it's something that you have to learn how to trust your own intuition and trust that there's like a divine matrix path for you in this world. Like, and it's really hard to understand that sometimes when we go through these conflicts and we deal with people, places, events, things that we don't feel like we can control is a big thing. Then it fucks with us internally, and we feel like the world's out to get us and all this other stuff, which isn't necessarily true. We just have to learn the process and trust the process, which is, I'm not gonna lie, this spiritual path is hard. It really is. It can have its, like, fucking moments, dude. Like, people don't, bury themselves and come back from the dead, dude. Like, I guess I said that weird. I don't know where that came from. But people, like, you have to, like, you end up digging your own grave, or you, like, end up, sprouting some new fucking plants, some new life from your decaying body, and, start a whole new rhythm of life. I don't know if that made any sense. I hope it did. But my point is, something beautiful, something new sprouts from decaying death. Like, death births new life, right? So our old habits, our old influences, our old personification or identification, it dies. A lot dies with it, but then something beautiful reemerges and rebirths from, the things that we learned from our past experiences. So this is my, my biggest point with a lot of my videos is trusting your own intuition. And I think with my path, no, I know from my own path that I have been conflicted with a lot of, opposing views and opposing core belief systems that are actually really similar. That sounds a little complicated, and I'm not going to explain that really for this video because it's not the topic. But, like, my point is I have a very Christian mom. I have a very religious mom who had, a history with drugs. And I also have a lot of brothers and sisters that I personally don't know because they were adopted and taken away from her. So I never really got to know a lot of, some of my family. And that gave me for a very long time a very toxic view of Christianity and religion and the ego influence with that. And then on the other hand, my father is an atheist. He doesn't really he doesn't express his views or his values or his belief systems frequently. I don't really have a pure understanding of any of that, so I don't really have too much to say about that. But to me, it really, projecting, from a projecting aspect, I get a lot of, I get a lot of feeling that he doesn't believe in anything, and it kind of, those conflicting viewpoints, those conflicting perspectives, that conflicting background that I have influences my own viewpoints on spirituality and the universe and this whole entire process of learning and being and just trusting the universe. So there's inner conflict that comes from that background that I have. And so at the same time, it gives me a much better understanding to where I can relate to other people and understand what their perspectives on spirituality is and religion, and why there are conflicting feelings, conflicting vibrations, conflicting frequencies about all of this stuff. So that's why I really emphasize people learning how to trust themselves above anything else, because and you'll see this more and more as this whole new earth, new age, witchcraft, spirituality becomes even more and more trendy. You're going to see this grow with all of this, is that people will tell you or say that you're doing something wrong with spirituality or whatever. And, maybe they might have some positive influence from where they're coming from, but I'm just going to tell you right now, like, just be careful, be really wary of trusting that sort of thing. Your own inner self's going to understand where their intent is coming from in that situation. You're going to understand what they're trying to express and relay to you a lot better in that moment. So just try to reflect before you react, observe, don't absorb. these situations because they're learning experiences. So, be respectful of that too. Don't take everything personal and, take it emotionally. Just try to understand the core learning aspects, the core values that you can take away from that experience. Just try your best. Uh, and see, I really feel like, again, I've mentioned this already, like with anything trendy, there's going to be some toxicity that comes along with it. So just trust your own inner instinct and get advice from people and ask them for advice. Ask people for advice and, observe their advice. Take in what you vibe and resonate. I think resonate's a really good word. Whatever you resonate and understand more than anything, take that in and reflect on it. Jot down some notes, do a journal. I really emphasize journaling because it's very powerful. But yes, again, to each their own. Spirituality should be individualized no matter what, because our perspective, we're given this life to have a different perspective and a different viewpoint and a different angle over life, so we can express ourselves individually differently to each other and enjoy our own experience together and understand other people's experiences. It's all a part of the process, and it's something that you can't understand at first, and it does take a long time to develop an understanding of it, but just try your best to observe and not absorb, I think is another really good emphasis on in this video. Observe and don't absorb. Journal, reflect, and take away from these experiences and try your best to learn and reflect and grow as a person. And let somebody else's growth be their responsibility. Do not project that onto yourself. Don't make that your responsibility. I think this is also a very good emphasis. Don't make somebody else's growth your priority. I did that with my marriage. Learned that the hard way. So I love you guys. If this video resonates, if this message resonates, especially for this Mercury retrograde, remember, don't text your exes. Like, comment, give me some feedback. I really want to know what some of you guys' perspectives on these topics are. So I love you guys. Hope you guys have a really great Mercury retrograde. If you need any advice, I am trying to put some witch. I'm gonna stop saying witch because I don't really resonate so much with witch. I mean, I am in the sense of witch, but I'm more a spiritual person. Anyway, if I'm trying to put together these spirituality kits to prepare people for these astrological planetary events, and also self-love kits and things like that. So if you need any advice, any personal advice, and just want to message me and don't feel comfortable commenting any of your personal shit down below, message me on any of these social media programs. I'm always on my phone. I'm working on that. Hopefully moving to Texas will knock some of that out of me. Anyway, but I am available on Instagram, Facebook, especially, and then Twitch. So if you guys want to message me and have some personal things you'd like some advice on, just feel free to message me and hit me up. Anyway, I hope you guys have a good one. I hope this resonates with some of you guys. I hope you learn to observe, not absorb. So yeah, you guys have a good one, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.